Hello and greetings from Iceland, but I have some big news today, so let's move straight to the earthquake swarm on the highlands that peaked with a magnitude 4.1 earthquake last weekend, and it occurred by this mountain called the Herðubreið. And although magnitude 4 ain't so big, it is the largest earthquake recorded at this location since the beginning of seismic monitoring in Iceland. So I'm starting with a larger story because this seems to be going somewhere. And the North Iceland seismic zone starts by the hotspot under Vatnajökull glacier and stretches all the way offshore by the north coast, but we will be focusing at the highland part of it, or north from Iceland's hotspot, Bárðarbunga, and move north from there. First, we find the Askja volcanic system, where 30 cm land uplift has been detected since August last year. And I have actually covered several times in other videos that I'm linking to. But what we learned just yesterday, or should you say got confirmed, is that a considerable amount of magma has been confirmed under there, or enough to produce a large highland eruption. But we didn't get any numbers though, like how many cubic kilometers. But the message was very clear. We should prepare for a large one. Or, like one of the experts said, after it starts, it's all up to the winds how it goes for us. So it occurred to me, if they are indeed predicting an event like in 1785, the Askja eruption, when people fled by the thousands to USA and Canada due to the hardship in agriculture that followed. So this is big news, and no surprise actually, since the land uplift there has been very rapid. But back to the earthquakes. What do they mean, if they mean anything? And here we have the Tjörnes fracture zone that has been giving us a hard time for the last months, with an earthquake swarm that produced over 10,000 earthquakes, and that action has started again. We can even see growing number of earthquakes along the plate boundaries through North Iceland, but nothing drastic though. But the magnitude 4 earthquake occurred in a region that is considered to be a part of the Askja system. And notice now that I have increasingly been using Google Maps to make b-rolls for my videos. And that function will be very helpful, where it is hard to get photos. So let's take a look at the nature around there, facing north. And again, we have Bárðarbunga, Iceland's hotspot here. And to the north, we see the giant Askja volcano, where we still have a code yellow aviation warning since last year. And behind Askja, we have 3 spots that we need to take a look at now, like this one. In 2014, over 3,000 earthquakes were detected there by this mountains called upptippingar, or how related are those systems? But I'm not going to get stuck in that today. If I would have made a video 10 years ago listing the most likely spots to erupt, this location would have been among the top 10 candidates. But we somehow got used to the unrest up there, so I have not been mentioning the earthquakes there so much. And during the last years, we have seen the earthquakes been moving to this location called Herðubreiðartaglir, which is a ridge extending from the Mount Herðubreið to the south and may be a part of that same system. So it's nothing new to get earthquakes around there, like by upptippingar, but the large one last weekend struck at the other side of the mountain. And that's where the action is still today, or this pretty nice cluster of over 2,000 earthquakes. And Herðubreið is no ordinary mountain. Its name means wide shoulders, and it was voted as the national mountain of Iceland in a poll 20 years ago. The reason is presumably this unique shape, but it's believed to be around 10,000 years old and formed under a glacier, for the most part at least. And furthermore, it's situated on Iceland's largest lava field called Ódáðahraun, and the plain around the mountain is at an altitude of 500 meters, and the Herðubreið summit has an elevation of 1,680 meters, and up there we have a caldera. And now I'm swapping to this recent photo of mine, shot from the north just last week with a zoom lens, but we won't get in closer than this during winter, sadly. And what got my attention as I drove by were those little clouds, or perhaps steam. So I asked myself, are things getting hotter than usual since the volcano Askja is behind those little clouds? And it is very hard for me and all Icelanders to imagine an eruption just by this mountain. It's just not one of the places where we expected such an event, not even strong earthquakes like now. So again, I find myself with more questions than answers, but I can however compliment the media for picking up this story quite fast, and come up with some of the answers, like we didn't know about the size of the magma intrusion under Askja until yesterday, or how large it really is. And my guess is that we are just looking at the preparation stage, perhaps a story that started 15-20 years ago with the earthquakes around, or could this ongoing earthquake swarm just be friction in the region from pressure from the land uplift by Askja volcano? So might we see an eruption at some surprise location this time, like in the mountain itself, or by its roots where the earthquakes are now? Herðubreið was, however, always considered to be a monogenetic volcano formed during a single eruption, but that theory has changed. I hear now that it was formed during 2 eruptions, but that's not the big issue now. Over 2,000 earthquakes have been detected so far. The depth is ranging from 3 to 6 kilometers roughly, and scientists want to rule out a magma intrusion, but they can't confirm it. We will have to wait for a few more days until satellite data will provide us with some answers. I'm also curious to know if we might be looking at the beginning of a rifting episode like occurred between 1975 and 1984, or has this all to do with Bárðarbunga? Is that giant volcano putting pressure on the whole region? But we do know that Bárðarbunga is still reloading after the 2014 eruption. However, nothing is indicating an imminent eruption, and there are no tourists there now, so that makes things easier in a way. But later in the winter, snow and ice will affect the instruments up there, making it harder to get the data to our scientists. But this is all a wasteland, burned wasteland. And this is not all from Iceland this time. We just got another strong earthquake in the Katla caldera, so the activity there is clearly growing rather fast. But again, Katla is used to tease us, especially after the summer when she has melted off some of the ice. And the Reykjanes Peninsula is shaking a bit as well, like the Tjörnes fracture zone. So overall, there is a lot of tension under my country right now. But we can't say, of course, if we are moving into something larger. But experts say that overall we are moving into a highly active period, not just the Reykjanes Peninsula. Our glaciers are shrinking, leading to land uplift, especially by Vatnajökull Glacier. But we did expect an eruption there in last week, or in Grímsvötn, and I did actually plan to go there, since I drove to the east coast last week to do a photo project, and planned to go all the way to Vatnajökull after that trip, but things were coming down a bit, so I drove back north. And currently I'm trying to figure out the best angles to see the next Askja eruption. But what makes such an event so interesting is the fact that we don't know what to expect. We know many of our volcanoes very well. We build up where they will erupt and such, but in this case, I don't think that anyone can say how the next eruption might play out. Especially when you look at the facts like we have a lake now on top of the magma chamber in Askja volcano, a lake that wasn't there before 1875. But after the eruption then, the land subsided and this lake came into being, or this enormous change in the landscape. So we have this unique extra feature now, or Iceland's second largest lake, sitting on top of an expanding magma chamber, so we might be in for a blast. Or might it be that the magma is simply moving north now, seeking the easiest way up? And might the next eruption occur near the Queen of Icelandic mountains, Herðubreið? So that location needs to be watched carefully in the coming days and weeks, since we might just be looking at the final stages of preparation for the next major eruption on the highlands. And the consequences of volcanic eruption in this location could be serious. But again, it's all up to the wind. Eruption there could easily cover a large portion of our country with ash, and of course lead to massive air traffic interruptions. So as I've mentioned often before, it's no ordinary times that we are going through. And with that, I'm sending you best regards from the volcano island, Iceland.